Hello. Today we will be looking at the Cambridge IGCSE music listening paper. We're looking at the final world music focus section that Cambridge is going to do for the foreseeable future because the syllabus is changing from 2026 onwards. But never fear, we're still in 2025, so we're looking at the world focus for this year specifically. It is Chinese music, and more to the point, it is Chinese silk and bamboo ensembles. So we're going to look at Guangdong music today. So of course the two sub-focuses for the year are Jiangnam Sichu ensemble music and Guangdong ensemble music. We are looking at the latter today. So I have previously made two videos on the May-June paper 1-1 as well as May-June paper 1-2 past paper regarding this very focus section, so section B3. They were both on Jiangnam Sichu music. So have a look at those videos to look at the other ensemble, so to speak, but today we're looking at Guangdong music. So this very extract comes from the May-June 2025 paper 1-3 past paper. Let's dive into our questions. So we will see that it says you will hear an extract of Guangdong music. Look at the skeleton score and read through the questions. So one thing we do know about section B3 is that they'll be very specific. They will tell you, are we listening to Jiangnam Sichu now or are we about to listen to Guangdong? So they will be very specific there. They won't try and trick you or let you guess what's happening. Because up until now, A1, A2, B1, B2, they may have asked you to guess or tell them from where the music comes. But here they will tell you specifically, okay, is it this one from the world focus or this one? So here we have Guangdong. Question 15 states for us, the melody in bars 1 to 8 is playing by the dong chow, an end-blown flute, which is something that we haven't been asked to memorize. So it's one of the instruments that we haven't been asked to study. So they're here telling us, okay, this instrument that you haven't been asked to study, it's the dong chow. So now explain in detail how the music is performed, naming other instruments and describing what they play. So there you have to name other instruments that you hear that you would have been asked to study, the names of which you would have been asked to study, as well as the names of those which you would have been asked to recognize orally. Great. Then question 16, comment on the scale using the printed passage. Yeah, we know it's going to be pentatonic, and we can see what our Western key might be, and we can then also see which notes of the pentatonic scale are used, and also if there are any extras. And if there's a 2 mark something, then you're going to know, okay, they won't just give me 2 marks for writing down pentatonic scale. There might be something extra. Okay, then what features or which features of this extract are typical of the start of a piece of Guangdong music? That is going to be interesting because we have to do a mix of what we know about Guangdong music from our notes and our study, as well as apply that to what we hear on the extract. Then the next page has our last question, question 18. How has the transmission of this music changed over time? And that is something that we can't glean from the extract. That is something that we definitely have to know from our notes and our study. So section B3, it counts 10 marks, and it's the subsection that counts the most in our paper so far. If we're thinking that we have a section A, B, C, D. We had A1 and A2 counting 8 marks each for Western music. We had B1 and B2 for our general world music counting 6 marks each. And now B3 counts 10 marks. So it's a little bit more, not too much extra, but within the framework of a 70-mark paper, it is quite a significant number. So let's dive into our audio extract, and then we can move to answer the questions. We'll do it in one go. Remember, in your exam, you will have 4 listenings through this piece of music. Today we're only going to listen to it once. If you need to listen to it again, just replay, repeat. That's the beauty of watching a YouTube video. So let's dive into our extract.
Now listen to music B3 and answer the questions.
Very beautiful. So that is our extract played once for us, and we're going to attempt to answer everything just in one go. Remember, you don't have to do this in the exam. Don't be a hero. You have many playings through which to listen. So if you answer, for instance, 2 questions only after 2 playings, that's okay. And if you answer the other 2 after the 4 playings, that's also fine. Remember to take it at your pace, but today we are hitting it all in one go. So we'll start with question 15. So the melodies in bar 1 to 8, they tell us that it's played by an in-blown flute, of course a Chinese in-blown flute, the dong chow. So now we need to explain in detail how the music is performed, and then we'll also name other instruments and describe what they play. So we're not going to specifically focus now on the dong chow. We can mention it, and then we're going to mention something else. Okay. So what we can hear in the extract, according to an instrument that we need to know for Guangdong music, is the guzheng. Now that is a plucked zither. So if you do forget the instrument name, you can say Chinese plucked zither. But I mean, there are only a few instruments that Cambridge would like us to know for Jiangnan Sichu, as well as Guangdong. And very specifically so, they do ask us to know about the guzheng in the Guangdong music realm, so to speak. So we can say that we definitely do hear the guzheng starting out for us there underneath this dong chow. So we hear a descending glissando from the guzheng, after which both the guzheng and then the dong chow play different versions of the melody, actually in octave, but they play it in heterophony or in heterophonic style, or we can use the word heterophonically. Heterophonically. That one. But I mean, I would just say they play in heterophony, and I mean, there's a texture thing already. We can bring that in, and that's already very impressive to bring in here when they say, how is the music performed? So of course, they already tell us that the dong chow plays the printed passage or part of the skeleton score, but also then the dong chow adds in some ornamentation, and that is very normal. The guzheng also plucks extra notes. Of course, that is an octave lower, and especially there where we see minims on the paper, on the skeleton score, the guzheng does something different there, adding notes. We can also name another instrument. We hear the gao hu, which joins from bars 5 and 6, and that also plays heterophonically with the other 2 instruments. There's some sliding pitches in between. And what is also very common, say for instance, we don't say another instrument, we just speak about our original guzheng, because that's what I would do. We can say that the guzheng plays or plucks tremolos on long notes, and especially at the end of phrases. So this is what is typical in Guangdong music. So we can definitely take that, what we know from our notes in our study and our classes, and apply it here to what we are hearing. So in this type of question, Cambridge marks you on your type of response. So not necessarily the amount of facts that you give, but on your response. Is it detailed? Is it fairly detailed? Is it fairly correct? Not correct? Is there no attempt being made? So you can't really get naught here unless you don't attempt at all. So do attempt, and then Cambridge will give you marks accordingly. On to the next question. Comment on the scale used in the printed passage, and of course it is the pentatonic scale. If we thought it before but doubted, once we heard that extract, it was fully confirmed for us. So usually in the pentatonic scale, penta meaning 5, and we have a 5-note scale. When you look at the pentatonic scale, we actually have 6 notes from our Western major scale here, because we actually also have the leading note. So if we're thinking that we are in C, for instance, here we can see the appearance of B. Okay, and that comes up for us in bar 3. It's interesting, we can see it there. So we now don't have a 5-note scale, but like a 6-note scale. But this is basically used to ornament the melody. It's sort of a passing thing. It's not too common. And as you can see, that B only shows up once in our skeleton score, for instance. But that will give you 2 marks there. Then, which other features of this extract are typical of the start of a piece of Guangdong music? So this is what we know from our study. We also apply it to what we just heard. And it's definitely the slow tempo there, the quadruple meter, as well as the 0 presence of percussion. So we hear our string and we hear our woodwind combination, which is also true of Jiangnan Sichu music. But specifically now, we do not hear any percussion in the start of our melody. Last question. How has the transmission of this music changed over time? And this is something we won't get from our extract. But we know that Guangdong music has a history of being an oral or oral communicated type of music. So within the people groups, this music was passed down generationally via talking as well as listening and playing, not necessarily being written down. But of course, today it's been more institutionalized, it's being written down, it's passed on like that. It can be taught at schools, it can be taught in private lessons. Usually it was if you had a family tie or some type of hereditary tie, you'd be able to learn that orally. But now, as with many musics that were traditionally more oral based alone, it has become more notated, and anyone sort of anywhere can now learn how to play and understand this music. So explaining that very precisely will give you your 2 marks there. And with that, we wrap up our past examples on Chinese focus for 2025. So I hope that this gives you a little bit of insight into what Cambridge may ask and may focus on when it comes to the Chinese focus for 2025 in the October-November series of the IGCSE listening paper. All the best with your preparation.